Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for watching another video. So tonight I'm going to tell you what basic budget tools you're going to need to assemble gorgeous watches just like this. I'm going to take you through the procedure that I used and tell you what tools are good and what tools are bad. And some of them are ridiculously basic, like this bouncing rubber ball. Let's get started. And as always, guys, if at the ending of the video you want to purchase any of these items and help support the channel, make sure to check out the links in the description below because we do get a commission if you purchase any of these products. To begin, here is the assembly process. The dial fits onto the movement, the hands fit on top of the dial, all of that goes into the case, and then you attach your bracelet. First thing I got is my workspace, this cutting mat, and I like these because they're firm enough so that you can press down on them and still get support, but yet soft enough that they're not going to damage any of the watch parts, and they're very easy to clean. Next up, you're going to need finger cots. Now, you can use gloves if you want, but if you're going to be working for a long amount of time, just understand that your hands are going to pool sweat in them, and you don't want to accidentally drip sweat into your project. So finger cots, highly recommended. The first thing I go after is the case, because what I want to do is take out the case backing. Get your rubber ball, squeeze it. You're going to use that point, stick it in there, and twist. And what I'm trying to get to is the gasket on the case back, because we have to lubricate it to make sure that it stays soft to keep the water out. Because the last thing you want to happen is for you to feel like you're done assembling your project, you've managed to get your spring bars in without damaging the finish, and realize that you gotta take out the backing because you haven't lubricated your gasket. So do the gasket first. Toothpicks are also a nice thing to have around for situations like this, where all we gotta do is nudge that gasket to get it to move so we can get it off and lube it. This is what you're gonna be using to lube up that gasket. It's got this spongy material on the inside that's got that lube in there. So you just put that in there right in the middle, close it up, and twist away. All right, the next thing we got to do is get the dial onto the movement. Now, all of the dials you're going to have are going to have multiple dial feet to fit different patterns on whatever movement. So when you find the ones that you don't need, you just use a pair of needle nose pliers, break them off, put movement on the dial. We're going to see these a little bit later on when we start cutting down the stem. Here's a quick look at what the corresponding holes look like on an NH35. So you got one right here and another one down here. So you cut off the other 2 feet and push it down for a nice tight fit. With the dial attached to the movement, the next thing we got to do is push the hands onto the movement. And we need something to support this while we're working on it. And that's where this comes in. This is a movement holder. There are many types that are available. This has 2 sides to it, but the NH35 fits right down on here. And it's going to create a nice stable platform for us to push the hands down on that center pinion. Now, you guys can see just how small that center pinion is. And these holes on the hands got to fit on that. You're going to need a little bit of help to see it. You guys are going to need some type of magnification through a eye loop. Now, my set came with a 3x, 5x, a 10x, and a 15x. The 3x wasn't enough. The 15x was way too much. So I think most people are going to be between a 5x and a 10x. Guys, this is a non-negotiable. You have to have one of these. You're going to be using it so much. And do yourself a favor, get the one with the head wire, because the last thing you want to do is rely on your eye muscles holding this up to your eye. Just let the wire do the supporting for you so you can work longer and more comfortable. So how do you push the hands down onto the movement? Well, I bought this thing here, and what you're supposed to do is put the movement underneath this thing, and it was spring-loaded. You put the hands right above the pinion and you push it down. But I ended up just using this as a pencil and using Rodico. Super quick comment on Rodico. Don't get the Chinese versions of it, all right? They're going to hold the hands just fine, but they leave residue on them. And I tried everything. I put it in the freezer, tried to use it right after, and it still left residue on the hands as well as the watch face. So just get the real deal and save yourself a lot of headache. And the way this works is you just ball the Rodico up to whatever shape you want. You get your pusher down and just push it in. Now, you're going to be okay using this size hole to push down the hour and the minute hand. The problem becomes when you get to the second hand or even on this VK63 like the sub dials. The problem is that the hole on here is so big that when it's pushing down on the pinion, it's bending the second hand down like this. And as you can see, I am missing a hand because as I was pushing it down, it catapulted and is somewhere in my kitchen. So how do we solve that problem? Enter the pusher pins. All right, each of these plastic ends has a different size hole that are different depths, and altogether you got 6 different sizes. I like these. Next order of business is we have to remove this temporary stem and replace it with the real stem and crown. And to do that, we're just going to flip the movement over, and it's going to give us access to the back of it. And you're going to need something with a real fine point. So I got this screwdriver, and it's so tiny, guys. We're going to have to press down on this lever that's like right there, that little dot. Push down and pull that out at the same time. Almost to the end, guys. The next step is to cut the stem to the proper length so that you have full control over the watch mechanisms. And it can't be too short and it can't be too long. So we're going to need something to cut this. So I got these pliers, and these are inexpensive and they do a pretty good job. The only thing I don't like about these is that this recess in here makes it difficult to know exactly how much you're getting. So I'll try to find something with a flush cut, but these are okay. Now, after you've snipped off the end of this stem, it's probably going to be a little bit ragged. So you're going to want to have some sandpaper or a Dremel to make sure that the edges are nice and smooth so you don't ruin the threads in the actual crown. Super important tip here, guys. When you're screwing the crown onto the stem, you got to make sure you hold it with something. Okay, and try not to come back down on this portion. You want to stay up here on the threads. You don't want to damage all that because that's how you control the watch mechanisms. But you just clamp down on it and make sure that you twist it all the way down. And when you see it spinning like that, you're good. Because the last thing you want is inconsistencies with how much that is screwed in, because you're never going to get the right length. And the last thing you're going to need is something to install the bracelet onto the case, because you got to squeeze that spring bar in. I got these tweezers and I hate them. All right, look at this. It's bent, broken off. I don't know if the more expensive ones are better, but these were an absolute waste of time. You can take off these ends and turn them around, but don't really like these. I've had better luck, 100% better luck, with just the tool that came with the bracelet. You got a pin pusher on one side and you got the fork on the other side. So you just strap on your monocle, find that fork, stick it right in here, and go slow, guys, so slow, and then just push it in. Now, the only other tool I can think of that you might need in case you need to remove the hands from the movement is a hand puller. Now, the way this one works is you're going to have a dial protector to stop the face from getting scratched up, and it'll be lying here just like that. And the way this works is you just squeeze it, all right? So just imagine the hands are there. This comes down like this, and then as you squeeze, that plunger will push down on the pinion and up go the hands. So that's one option. Now the other option kind of looks like the hand pushers, except at the ending, you don't have these plastic tips, you have these curved edges. So what you'll do is put a plastic over the pinion, and you'll come in here and use those curves as leverage to pull up the handles. Either option is great. Well, alright guys, this is the ending of the video. I hope it helps out. Remember, if you want to purchase any of the tools mentioned in this video, make sure to check out the link in the description below. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.